Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Tuesday edition of Today in Sports Betting. I'm joined, as always, by my partner in crime, Mr. Scott Reichel. Another exciting day in basketball. Scott, what's up, buddy?
Nothing much. You had a pretty interesting NBA card yesterday where some games were pretty close, but there were really no games that came down to the extreme wire besides the Thunder and Lakers game, which was not available on TV for most people. But, I think the play of the day, not in terms of betting, but in terms of just basketball, was the Draymond Green half-court attempt to try to tie the game with about 5 seconds left, which was pretty amusing to watch. But other than that, no, I thought the NBA was fine. Can't really complain too much. What do you think of the card?
It was okay. We did well. We did 2-0 on the premium side, and we hit our play of the day. We had a first half play there. So yeah, we did all right.
Shout out to Jamal Murray, by the way, 4 for 17 from the floor.
Outstanding.
Thanks for showing up.
Like those guys did 4 more than I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had the first half under in the SMU game, and they helped us out there. They put up 2 points in the first 5 minutes total.
That's fun.
Yeah, that's always good to lock those up. Scott, I'm going to tell you one more thing. I was watching some Super Bowl highlights. If that Mahomes throw, where he threw basically from the prone position, if that would have been a game situation where that throw mattered,
I think you're going too far. I think if they just completed the pass, it's one of the best plays of all time.
I think if he completes the pass, and there's a couple of big ifs, obviously. If he doesn't hit him in the helmet,
it doesn't even need to be a close game. You complete that's one of the best throws of all time.
I think if it's game situational, I think it's the best play in Super Bowl history. Everybody else could sit down. David Tyree can grab some pine. It's over.
Yeah, if it was a close game, I'm saying even if it wasn't, that's one of the best throws or plays in the history of the sport.
Yeah, no question about it. So,
and now he's having surgery for his foot injury.
Yeah, you're gonna have a little toe surgery there. So,
no, I mean they got a bit of a long off season, so I'm sure he'll be back.
It's fine. It's fine. So, we hit. That was one we hit, and then I can never remember these. And then we hit Toronto. They jacked around with Memphis for about 3 quarters, and then pulled away in the end. And we had the Minnesota Nebraska under. So
Toronto's starting to play some basketball.
Yeah, they are. That's definitely a team to keep an eye on for sure. So let's take a look at today's card, Scott. First of all, we'll start the college ranks. Not a lot of great teams in action last night. We do have two ranked teams there in the Big 12 as West Virginia and Texas Tech battle down there in Lubbock, Texas. Scott, you ever been to Lubbock, Texas?
I have not. I heard it's lovely this time of year.
So flat you can see the back of your head when you look at the horizon. That's how flat it is.
Okay.
So yeah, that's all right. They got all the Buddy Holly stuff. That's where Buddy Holly is buried, and they have the little statue downtown, Lubbock, Texas. Not a bad place.
I'm guessing you've been there.
I have been there. Yeah, I've done a show there at Senior Frogs, I believe was the name of the place where I performed. Okay. Certainly as nice as it sounds. Tech is a 5.5 point favorite here, Scott. 141 is your total. Give me some early thoughts on this game, man.
For this one, I know West Virginia has been playing well lately. Beat Iowa State, which doesn't really mean anything, but still won on the road. Beat Kansas by 12 at home. Impressive win there. Still, I'm looking at Texas Tech. This team's won 3 in a row. I know that Texas Tech probably should have won the first meeting against West Virginia. They were up 13 with, I think, 6 minutes to go? They had a win probability of about 98% or 95%, something like that. I took a photo of it and I put it on Twitter. But Texas Tech against the team that likes the full court press, like I know that West Virginia doesn't do it as much this year as years past. How do you score 87 points, commit 2 turnovers, and lose the game? In the entire game, the team committed 2 turnovers. I don't even know how you do that. How do you lose that game?
I'm going to guess you play pretty bad defense.
That's going to be my guess too. But anyway, point is Texas Tech in Morgantown probably should have won the game, and they didn't. I think Texas Tech will be motivated. I think this team's the better team, and I think that it'll probably win this game relatively handily, which is why the spread is currently 5.5, even though West Virginia won the first meeting. So I think this game might be close for a half, but based on how the first meeting went, Texas Tech dominated the game for about 33 minutes or so.
Okay.
Or West Virginia came back. For that reason, I'll take Texas Tech. I think that, as we've talked about before, road teams in conference play or road favorites have not done too well. I know the Texas Tech is favored in this game, but it kind of goes back to my point of a lot of teams look differently on the road in comparison to home. And I think West Virginia is a good example of that. So for me, if I'm playing, I'm laying. You?
Yeah, I'm gonna play the home team here as well. I'm just looking. You worried about Tech's defense? They don't seem to be as dominant as they have in years past. You got a theory on that?
Well, my counter argument to that would be: are you worried about West Virginia's defense? Because you go through the line here, gave up 87 to Tech, gave up 85 to Florida at home, gave up 72 to Iowa State, and gave up 79 against Kansas.
No, I don't care about West Virginia. I'm asking.
I'm just saying the Texas Tech
defense. I'm not talking about in relation to this game. I'm asking about in relation to the season. I'm not impressed with this West Virginia team. I thought they've been a pretender the whole season.
Yeah, my point was that I was trying to create a caveat that even the Texas Tech's defense has not looked as good as you'd expect from Chris Beard. The point is that Huggins' defense looks probably worse for the sake of this game. Now, in terms of the grand scheme of things, I think it is concerning for Tech because I think you'll agree that Tech, even though McClung is a guy, there's not really many players who'd rather have the ball in their hands late in the game than McClung. He's just been great this year, and he's a clutch player. But you got him and Shannon. Other than that, though, do they really have many other offensive weapons? I know you got Silva in the middle, who's okay, but they really just rely heavily on guard play to just create their own shots with not really any type of an offensive cohesion. And I think that if you're not going to be getting enough stops like you're used to with Texas Tech and that's how they made it to the title game was just good defense. You had Owens as a rim protector. They don't have that. So I think if you're going to rely that heavily on guard play and you can't just give it to a guy in the middle who can get to the foul line all the time and can score, I think defensively you're not going to be good enough to actually make a deep run. So I am concerned. Yeah. I think Tech's probably a Sweet 16 team?
Tops. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Tops.
Certainly have the capability of losing earlier than that.
I'm saying you'd probably agree, though. If they made it to the Elite Eight, would it surprise me? Probably a little bit.
Yeah, depending on their run.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. This is a West Virginia team that's given up 72 points to anybody with a pulse, and that should be enough. I think Tech rolls them up here. I'm with you. Both of these teams have been a little inconsistent, but I think Tech is the better team at the end of the day. So I'll take the home team.
And I'll also look to the over as well.
Yeah. Well, what's that? What's it listed at right now?
140.5, which seems very, very low.
Yeah, I got 140, 141, 140.5, 141.
That one actually really confuses me. Just because West Virginia has gone over in 4 in a row. Tech's gone over in 3 of the last 4. And the first game they played ended up totaling in the 170s. So I don't really get the 140.5 line there, but whatever.
Hasn't been a ton of movement. It opened at 140.5, and that's, like I said, that's
see a couple 141s. But
yeah, well, you can even if you go to bookmaker, it's 141.5, which Godspeed right there. But yeah, you can still catch it at 140 at DraftKings. So
I don't really get that total.
Yeah. Anything else on the? These I think you're getting a reputation. You're getting some reputation money there with the Texas Tech defense, and it just
and West Virginia's defense, right?
And West Virginia, which they don't really play the press anymore. That's a little bit some of the past there for Huggy. Anything else on this card to grab your attention?
Well, going through the card here, I already talked about one play in particular that I might have a play today on, but I might actually call an audible and maybe do something else. But looking at the rest of the card here, Michigan State, I think -3. I know that Penn State is not good. I know Michigan State is not good either. But if there's one thing that I can tell you is that Michigan State, even though they burned me earlier this year when I took them laying points at home against Michigan State, and they blew an 18-point lead at half and ended up losing the game outright. 7-2 at home. Still a good team in the Breslin. And Penn State's 1-6 on the road. Penn State might have won its last game against Maryland at home, beat Wisconsin at home. But you go through the road here, team really hasn't beaten anybody. And I think that Michigan State, in must-win territory, whatever cliche that even means, because we've talked about how much nonsense that actually means, I just think Michigan State's the better team. And I think Michigan State will probably win this game. I think it's kind of similar to what we saw in the Kansas spread yesterday, where Kansas was in a massive slump. Oklahoma State actually looked pretty good. And then it's just like, oh, no, Kansas State's lying because they're clearly going to just beat this team. And they beat them down. I think you'll see a similar script in this one.
Okay.
But that involves you holding your nose and picking Michigan State. So that's never a fun time.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it with Kansas, and I don't want to do it with Michigan State. So
I think you'd agree.
I like your logic. I don't hate your logic, but it's one of those games. If you lose, you feel like a moron for
correct. But I don't know. It just seems like a similar spot to Kansas yesterday.
I agree. A little team on the road that's a little bit overrated. Get a little buzz. They had a good win or two playing against one of the traditionally elite teams that are having a down season. Yeah, it's a similar spot. I agree with that.
Yeah, I know this team killed me yesterday, but I liked NC Central minus the 1 against A&M. They lost outright, and now the spread moved even higher because A&M ended up closing +1 yesterday, won the game, and now they're +2.5.
Back to the well, buddy.
I guess I'm just throwing it out there that I find it kind of fascinating that after line movement failed the first time, people really seem to be doubling down on NC Central the second time. So I'm curious how that's going to play out. It wouldn't surprise me if Central rolls, but
they're due.
I just think that's something that kind of caught my eye, which is, didn't we go through this yesterday? Like people just had all the line movement, it lost, and they're like, no, but this time it's a lock. Like, okay,
Lucy's holding the football this time, buddy. Don't you doubt it.
Mm-hmm. But
one of my favorites got canceled. That was Buffalo over Western Michigan.
Western Michigan's just bad.
All those directionals, dude. The directionals in the MAC are dreadful.
Mm-hmm.
Eastern, Western, Central, and Northern Illinois, all terrible.
Yep.
So Buffalo kind of put a little late kick on here.
Coming on strong a little bit late in the year.
Well, especially after Toledo had this inexplicable loss on Saturday.
Because they took them.
What a shocker that was. You had Toledo also? Yeah, wait a minute. That was one of our premium picks, man.
I couldn't say no. I mean, Ball State lost like 4 in a row. And
Toledo just curb stomping everybody.
They were up 2 at the half, and then the second half came around. They gave up like 47 points.
Yeah, they ended up losing by like 14. So
yeah,
brutal game there. So yeah, that's I'm just I found two games that I liked, 3 games that I liked on the college card, and that was really about it. And that was. I'm tempted by Creighton, but we talked a little bit before the show, and it could be anecdotal. I would like to see the numbers, but it seems the road favorites are not doing well this season.
Didn't Georgetown just beat Creighton like a week ago? Like in Creighton? I'm like pretty sure Georgetown just beat this team. They did. They beat them on February 3rd.
Hard to
won 86-79. So I find it fascinating that a team that lost at home to Georgia. I know Georgetown's not very good. I'm aware that Georgetown's 5-9. I understand that, but in general, though, I just find it interesting that money's poured in on Creighton up to 7.5 when they kind of got exposed by Georgetown about less than a week ago.
Yeah, this is a Creighton team about ready. Every time you're ready to write them off, they end up righting the ship. And
no, correct. I didn't say I'm going to play it. I'm just saying, based on the line movement alone, I find it pretty fascinating.
I wanted no part of that, buddy. An inconsistent team favored by 7.5 on the road.
That's what Creighton is. They peak at some point in the beginning of the season. They kind of fall apart. They rally the troops, and they lose in either the round of 32 or the round of 16.
Yeah, they're
it's the same thing every year. I think you'd agree with that.
Kind of their thing. They're just 7-11 against the number as a spread. 5-9 in the conference. So yeah, they're.
Let me ask you something. Can I interest you in a Kentucky?
Man, I looked at that.
They're playing. You got to always monitor that. Not because of the betting, just because of the comedy that's surrounding Kentucky.
I looked at that game. And Arkansas has been
good. You're not in the mood to take Kentucky. You're good.
Been a good team against the number. Kentucky's been still overrated all season long. I don't know, dude. Are you?
I don't know what happened in that Tennessee game because I know that I turned it on briefly and I saw that Kentucky was up. I think it was like 6 in the second half with maybe like 15 minutes to go or like 10 minutes to go. I'm like, all right, whatever. I changed the channel. I checked the score 2 hours later and Tennessee won by like 15. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, they end up winning that one by 11. Yeah, you're right.
That game, Kentucky was winning a decent amount of that game, and then I changed the channel and I checked back an hour and a half later. It's like, oh yeah, Tennessee rolled them. I'm like, what do you have like a 30-9 run or something over the last like 10 minutes? What happened?
Yeah. See, the problem with Arkansas is they're making hay against crappy teams.
Yeah, Arkansas kind of burned me earlier this year against. So I'm not the biggest Arkansas fan, but I'm not a Kentucky fan. I'll tell you that much.
No, that's why I'm sitting it out. I mean, Arkansas has done well, but against the middle to lower ranked teams, but they turned in a stinker against Alabama, Tennessee, Missouri.
I can tell you that game will probably be close because Kentucky, every game seems to come down to the wire. They always lose, but every game that they play against non-elite competition seems to always be a one-possession game with like 5 minutes to go.
You put the squirrel rifle to my head down there in Kentucky, and I'm going to have to play Arkansas. This is a Kentucky team.
I'm not touching it. I just thought it was worth mentioning because
they're still overrated, dude. They've failed to cover 6 of their last 7. They've lost 6 of 7 straight up. They're not, and they were in uncharted territory because you've got a Kentucky team that let's face it, they ain't going to the tournament unless
they're dead to rights unless they win the SEC tournament.
Unless they win the SEC, right?
They're not even making the NIT.
They're sitting 5-12 on the season. So we're in uncharted territory as far as how Calipari's teams respond in these situations. So I have no idea, but I would.
I'm curious if they would respond in the first 9 situations they had earlier this year.
I'm fading Kentucky there. Yeah,
I don't blame you. I just thought it was worth bringing it out there because anytime Kentucky plays, people are going to talk about it, even though this team probably doesn't deserve it to be talked about.
Yeah,
I got a rooting interest in a game tonight, even though I'm not going to bet it. I'm rooting for the Red Storm.
Oh, are you a Red St. John's fan?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about the local colleges in my area, I mean, Syracuse is like 3-4 hours away.
Yeah.
Buffalo's upstate too. Binghamton's useless, but that's also like 3 hours away. St. John's is the closest, I'd say, D1 that I could think of.
LIU.
Yeah, but I mean, that's St. John's. At least has some type of reputation.
You're like me and UMKC with LIU, where they're the hometown team, but my God, they're terrible.
They changed their logo. I'm biased, so no. But I've always rooted for St. John's. So the fact that this team's actually won a couple in a row, staying alive. Do I think they're going to make the tournament? Until I'll wait and see it until I believe it, because St. John's seems to be a team that would lose tonight just because of past years, even though Butler's just not very good. But I'm rooting for St. John's, and hopefully if they make the tournament, I'll get to enjoy watching them play for 40 minutes before losing in the first round. So at least I'll get one team in there that I can actually say, that's a New York team. Because there's not many, and Syracuse isn't going to make it. So you need one New York team to make the tournament every now and then.
Well, and you've St. John's is they opened up at
Just pick them, and now they're +1.
Yeah, they opened up -1 actually.
I'm not surprised money's coming in on Butler. I mean, money poured in against St. John's over the weekend against Providence, and they smacked them.
It's I don't. This Butler team's not all that good.
Not good. I'm not going to overreact to a win over DePaul.
No, unless Mark Aguirre's playing, I don't care about DePaul. So
yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on, shall we, to the professional ranks, Scott. The NBAers are going at it tonight. We got a couple games on the telly. Starting off with a little contest from the Rockets and Pelicans, two of our old favorites to see on TV. Mm-hmm. Pelicans, let's see, currently sit at -4. Is that what you have that at?
That's roughly the line. I mean, that's the line it was on the overnight or so. Now I see -6.
-6, yeah. So it's actually money coming in on the Pelicans.
Doesn't surprise me.
No, I don't. It doesn't surprise me either. This Houston team, they had a nice little run, but they are not the same without their force there in the middle. They have not played good basketball. I'm fading them again here.
It's actually funny that you brought it up because I put money on Houston to win the division. I forgot I got 8-1 about a week ago, and then Wood got injured, and I'm like, all right, that's classic. And I watched them play against the Spurs, lost close, whatever. Then I watched them score 7 points against the Hornets in the fourth quarter yesterday, and I hit the eject button. So I took my money out. I lost a little bit, but I realized after, I'm like, this team's just not going to win. But I reinvested it into the FanDuel economy. So I took whatever I withdrew and I put it on something else. But, I kind of jumped ship with Houston. Don't get me wrong. I respect what they're doing. I can't blame the team or anything for having its best player get injured, who was going to be a walk-in all-star.
Yeah.
I mean, what's been ridiculous this year. There's really no other way to put it. Yep. But I just can't trust Houston, this team. I just can't trust the team because if you look at what they have, you still have Wall. Oladipo's out for this game.
They're giving Oladipo rest. So that, to me, that means they've probably just written this one off.
I just think this team is not very talented. Now, they play hard. I'll give them props. Like, the Knicks play extremely hard. And there was a reason why people thought they were going to be terrible this year. And they're basically a playoff team right now in the East because the East is a disaster. But the same idea is with Houston. This team plays tough. They play good defense. But can they score? And I don't think they can score. So for that reason, New Orleans, who we both don't like, has actually started to piece together a couple wins every now and then. This would be a classic Pelicans game to lose outright.
No.
But
it's a very Pelicans thing to do. It really would.
I understand the move. They've won 3 in a row, and they've beaten 3 pretty good teams in Phoenix, Indiana. Well, Memphis, not really, but Memphis is a fringe division contender because that division is awful. But I got to lean New Orleans, I guess, because recent form and based on Houston playing yesterday and just losing the best player, I think I got to lean the Pelicans here.
Yeah, and you're missing arguably your two best players.
Yeah. I'd say 2 of the top 3 because I think Wall's probably better than
it really comes down to whether you like Oladipo or Wall better.
You got to give Wall props. They had a very good year.
Yeah, so far. Houston did they did respond well the last time they played a back-to-back. They took care of business on the road against Memphis as a 4-point dog. They won by 12. Similar spot here, but they just looked dreadful last night against the Hornets.
It was a good game for 3 quarters, and they scored 7 points in the 4th quarter.
Well, that was kind of the same way with our Toronto game where they kind of screwed around for 3 quarters and then put it together at the end. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't see another way to go here, Scott. I don't.
I'm not going to play it because I still don't trust the Pelicans at all. But this team has played better. I'll give them props for it.
Well, we missed the value too. I don't love laying 6, but I'm gonna. I can't back Houston without Oladipo or Wood in this situation. So if you got to play it, friends don't let friends play this game. But if you have to play it, there's really only one way to play it. To me, that is backing the Pels, the hometown Pels. Any thought on the total in this game?
I'd have to lean over. It's gone from around 222.5 or 223 all the way to 226. I think a decent amount of value might be gone, but they're expecting a track me in this game, so sure. Besides, we've talked before about I don't want to take any unders with New Orleans. They've played a couple unders lately, but they can explode at any moment.
Yeah, that's true. Of course, you got a Houston team that's put up 87 against OKC and put up 94 against Charlotte.
I think Zion's going to go nuts today.
Yeah, I don't want to touch the total. I guess because Houston's played 4 straight unders. Just no offense without these guys. And I'll lean under. I'll give you a small fade there, but not by much.
Okay.
All right. Then we've got our other TV game, which is going to be the Celtics and the Jazz. I'm going to do that every time, pretty much. So
that works.
Celtics 6-point road dogs in this one. 220 is your total. Scotty, what do you got here?
Well, for this one, I'm going to have to lean to Utah. Once again, though, I cannot touch it until I know if Jaylen Brown's going to play or not. He's still a game-time decision. We've talked about this over the weekend when they played the Clippers. And I said if Paul George doesn't play, then I would take the Celtics, whether Brown plays or not. But I said I couldn't touch it until I know if Brown was playing or not because I had to wait for the injury report. And both of them did not play. Brown and George did not play, and the Celtics won outright, which didn't surprise me. But looking at this matchup here, I know Mike Conley's injured, but truth is that hasn't stopped Utah at all. Utah has just been absolutely mauling teams. And, he missed the game against Indiana. Didn't matter, won anyway. But he was not going to play in this one. Smart, of course, is still out for Boston, which is a big deal. Jaylen Brown, if he doesn't play, I think is a massive blow to this team. So for that reason, I got to lean Utah. But if Brown plays, I would probably take the points. I think Brown's that valuable. You agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's. I think 6 is a lot with Brown. I think this has already been.
I think it's baked in, but
Yeah. I think Brown being out is already baked into this number. So you could get some serious snap back there. If you wanted to gamble, if you had an inside source about Brown's status, if you thought he was going to play, picking up that 6 right now would be the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't want any part of him without him because it's the Utah Jazz team still playing very good basketball, Scott. They've
That's what I'm saying. They've just been a freight train.
Yeah, they've they had a little stumble there against Denver, and they didn't cover against Detroit. But then again, now they've started back up again. They've won and covered 3 straight road games. Now they're back home. They're back home in the land of the Golden Trumpets. So yeah, I don't know, man. This is a tough one, but until you know the injury report, just like you're saying, it's a shame when you have a team that is so contingent on, so dependent on one player, but yet here we are. So our official play is going to be Jaylen Brown, basically.
For the sake of this, I'll assume Brown's not going to play.
Yep.
So I'll lean Utah.
Okay.
But if I end up hearing at the last minute he's going to play, then I would advise taking the points. So I know if you want to book it, if you want to bet it now, then I'm sorry I didn't give you a more concrete answer. But truth is, if you really wanted to bet it now, my question to you would be why?
I'd like to tell you I've got an inside source about Boston Celtics injuries, but I don't.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the only reason why you should want to bet this game early, because if you know something about the status, then you might be a one move. But
yep.
Why would you want to bet it now when the game's not going to be taking place for another about 10 hours?
Talk me out of the under here, Scott.
What?
Talk me out of the under.
I can't. I'd lean to the under as well.
Okay. All right. Anything else on the NBA card to grab you?
For the most part, not really. I was interested in the Portland-Orlando under potentially, but that's gone from 224 to 219.5. So pass.
Bye-bye value.
I'll tell you what, this might sound a little bit controversial. I kind of like Detroit plus the points against the Nets, which sounds ridiculous because Detroit's terrible, but have the Nets covered any big spreads with any of their big players yet? They beat Oklahoma City. Other than that, they've been disastrous against the spread, at least as a favorite. As an underdog, they won a couple times, but I mean, this team just every game comes down to the wire. And if you look at how they've played, first of all, Durant's still out for COVID protocol. Kyrie's supposed to play after missing last game, but this team can't stop anybody. And Detroit, even though this team's not very good and they have a couple of game time decisions, they did push the Lakers double overtime. I'll give them props for that.
And this is a Nets team. They've been a lot better at home than they have on the road.
Correct.
Coming off a disastrous road trip there where they lost 4 straight.
They played a couple decent teams lately. I know that Toronto has a bad record, but that team's still, I think, going to wake up at some point. It appears that the time might be now for the Raptors if you want to buy low. But lost to Toronto at home. Durant had that COVID game where he missed the start of the game, came in the middle of the game, then had to leave again in the fourth quarter for COVID. The whole thing was weird. But either way, lost that game. I watched that Philly game. That game was so bad. They gave up like a 15-0 run in the third quarter. It was just they can't rebound the ball. The Nets might be one of the worst rebounding teams. And besides playing defense, they can't rebound the ball. Yeah. And I wouldn't surprise me if Detroit, after barely losing to the defending champions, I think Detroit might give them something. Okay. And money has come in on Detroit. It's gone from around 7.5 to 6.5. I think Detroit's tempting.
Well, this is a Detroit team that beat the Lakers at home the last time they were in Michigan. They beat Philly by double digits. They definitely play a lot better at home than they do on the road. Like I said, they lost just coming off that disaster. Like I said,
my question: do you want to lay 6.5, 7 with the Nets?
Yeah, no. I think I would. If anything, I'm going to look at the number there. That's the first time we've seen anything below 230 for the Nets in seems like about 30 years. So
yeah,
I'd probably take the over there. The Nets. It doesn't really matter who they're playing. As we've seen, they can turn anybody into the 2014 Warriors.
I thought you were going to say the Harlem Globetrotters, but that works too.
Oh, nice. That's very good. So, yeah, I want no part of the Nets there. Yeah, I'll just give me the blind over.
That's fair. I'm mentioning Detroit because people look at the game and say, oh, Detroit's terrible. The Nets, I know they have talent, but the Nets haven't pieced it together for a full 48-minute game besides the games they play on TNT against good teams.
It's a rarity. Yeah, Durant is out. Irving looks like he is going to play.
They can't guard anybody. It's a joke.
Yeah. Blake Griffin's
he's a lost cause. I feel bad for Blake Griffin. I mean, then again, I don't because he made so much money, but you can tell at this stage in his career, his lift is non-existent. He's done.
He's old before his time, Scott.
He's well, truth is he played a style of basketball that was kind of Sean Kempish, and people didn't really, I'd say, appreciate it until it was too late, because right now he barely even dunks anymore. I don't even mean like tomahawk dunks. I mean just straight up like D2 college, like two-hand rim grazers. Like he barely does that anymore.
Taking its toll, man. That's man. You think basketball don't take its toll? 82 games a year. You are sadly mistaken, man.
That's what makes LeBron, because he hasn't slowed down in year 18, and everybody by now probably would have at least become a role player at this point.
Pretty incredible. Anything else?
Really, no. I feel like we went through a decent amount.
Yep.
I find that Philly-Sacramento line interesting, but I'm not probably going to touch it. No, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, there you go. As always, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for more information on these games or any other games, there is one stop for you, and that is winnersandwhiners.com. Deep dives into every game every single day. Make sure you stop by and check that out. Always there, always free, winnersandwhiners.com. And, we want to know, drop us a line. Let us know what you guys think of our picks. If you got something, if you got the lock of the day, tell us what that is. Drop in the comment section to help everybody out. Of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate the effort. And, wish you guys nothing but the best today. Hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. For myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at winnersandwhiners.com. Appreciate you watching as always. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, and we'll go out there and make some money, have a little fun today. And we'll see you guys tomorrow on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody.